Le Sommet international de l'éducation du futur réunit une soixantaine de conférenciers du monde entier. Des pionniers et des innovateurs issus du monde de l'éducation, bien évidemment, mais également des êtres inspirants, issus des chemins de sagesse ou des chemins d'apprentissage et de créativité dans différents domaines. Les arts, les sciences, l'économie, le lien avec la nature, le sport, etc. Des expériences et des chemins de vie qui sont un formidable enrichissement pour le monde de l'éducation. Le professionnalisme des traductions, en simultané, et l'incroyable richesse de toutes ces conférences offrent un horizon de point de vue vaste et varié, très complet, qui en font au final une véritable formation professionnelle pour les enseignants, les éducateurs et tous les professionnels de l'éducation, mais également une formation à la parentalité consciente et une formation individuelle à la vie consciente. Face à toute cette richesse et aux divers retours, nous avons décidé d'offrir toutes ces conférences à tous, partout dans le monde, en français et en anglais, quelquefois en allemand et en espagnol. Découvrez la vision d'acteurs audacieux et influents du changement, vers un monde éthique, solidaire, généreux et profondément respectueux de tous, des cultures, des peuples, des règnes et de la planète. Un incroyable panel de conférences, couvrant toutes les dimensions de l'éducation, pour un futur ayant du sens, une humanité épanouie et une terre qui respire. Une chose est sûre, votre vie, et à travers vous, celle des enfants, ne sera plus la même après avoir écouté toutes ces conférences. Pour avancer, nous avons besoin de vous, nous avons besoin de votre générosité solidaire. L'organisation du sommet et l'édition des conférences ont nécessité des milliers d'heures de travail et nécessitent encore beaucoup de temps et d'investissement. Nous faisons appel aux dons libres et spontanés pour compléter le financement du sommet et, si possible, continuer à l'enrichir de nouvelles conférences. Votre soutien est vraiment précieux et vital pour aller jusqu'au bout de cette aventure extraordinaire. Merci.
Well, I am very happy to present you the Ben Salmi family from the United Kingdom. So Sabrina is the proud mother of 5, a multiple award-winning author, publisher, public speaker, consultant, and presenter. She has been recognized and listed as the number 2 on the list for top 50 most inspirational Black women in the UK in 2019 and the Mother of the Year award winner. Her mission is to help families dream big together and write their stories as they build their family legacy. Not a small mission. As a young age, the Ben Salmi children that we call the Fantastic 5 became authors, publishers, youth advocates, advisors, public speakers, and mentors, merely because they wanted to show other young people and families that anything is possible, and that if they can achieve the same, then if they can do it, other kids can do it too. And so we have, today we have Lachey, who is 21 years old. He's the oldest child. She is the oldest child, Lachey, sorry. She is passionate about empowering and inspiring as many people as possible to turn their dreams into reality. We have Treyshawn, who is 16 years old, who is committed to eradicating poverty by providing financial education to 1 million young people around the world. We have Yasmin, who is 13 years old and who is committed to empowering young people, especially girls, to love themselves and embrace their uniqueness. We have Paolo, who is 12, and he is committed to encouraging as many as 1 million children to go on adventures, both indoor and outdoors, to activate their natural curiosity. And we have Amir, who is 8, who is sitting next to his mom, and who became the world's youngest male author when he began publishing the first in a series of books called Because I Am Smart. His desire is to put a smile on 1 million people's face, starting with you. Today, the conference is a family that works and plays together, stays together. A family's philosophy shared with the world to encourage other families to do the same by providing the next generation with the right tools, resources, opportunities, and role models to help them thrive. Welcome and thank you for being here with us. Wow.
Thank you for having me.
So much. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, you can speak, Sabrina. You have to open the microphone.
Thank you so much for that introduction. It was amazing. Apologies, everyone, that we got started a little bit later than intended, technical issues. But my name is Sabrina Ben Salmi, aka Mum. And, I just want to say a huge thank you to each and every parent that's on here today. Abel, thank you for inviting us. Thank you for the introduction. But I think sometimes as parents, we have a lot of parent guilt. There's such a thing as mother guilt and daddy guilt. And I'm really here to say the truth is when we say to our children, our imperfection is our perfection. I'm on this journey, I'm willing to relearn because each and every child that's born into a family, it's a new time to learn. And it's not the parents that's doing the teaching, guys. If you're on this platform, I imagine you have a similar perspective that when a child is born, it is time for us to learn the gifts that that child has come to bestow on this family. And that was really my journey as a parent. I'm coming into motherhood and I'm thinking I'm going to raise these children. And as they started to pop up in the family, I was like, oh my God, like who's teaching who here, right? Like if anyone's spoken to a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, you will know exactly what I'm speaking about. But one of the days that stands out the most for me as a mother was when I had a conversation with my children and I started to ask them things like, what's your superhero skills? What do you want to change in the world? Asking them problems I was having in a day around a dinner table and asking, Mummy had this challenge. What should I do about it? And lo and behold, the solutions to things that I thought were complex, complicated, and challenging became child's play. And that really inspired me on this journey with my children to go, actually, as parents, why don't we invite our children into our lives? Because I often heard that term work-life balance. And to be honest, I was a hot mess. So if you've managed to achieve that, brilliant for you, but I was not doing so well until I started to allow my children to teach me. They started to integrate ideas and perspectives, and each of my children have their own personalities, and you'll get onto them very soon. But just from my perspective, I had Lachey come into my world when I was a tomboy, okay? I was the only child from my mother, and I would be climbing up trees as a teenager, playing professional football. I was a teenager because that was my way of protecting myself. So fast forward to falling pregnant at the young age of 19 and giving birth at 20, my whole world changed around. And I remember one of the first conversations with Lachey, and I remember her just outbursting like, Mum, I don't want to wear jeans and a cap. I'm not a boy. I want to wear pink and purple dresses. And I was like, here's a learning curve, right? And that was a slap for me because what I realized, it wasn't about me. This wasn't my little tomboy doll that I was going to dress up as a little boy and go out and buy them action men figures. She was fed up. She had enough, and she made sure I was told about it loud and clear. The interesting thing is that was a tipping. It was the precipice of this journey of, do we teach and pour into our children? Or is it for us to learn how to be a mother, especially if you've got more than one child, how to be a mother over and over and over again? So anyone who meets me, I will often say, I'm a mother of 5, but I'm a mother to 5 separate individuals, because it's not a cluster. So that's just a little bit about Lachey, but she was this young lady that was vivid. She saw the world in a completely different lens and perspective, and she really got into videography and photography, and she made me see the world in the most glorious way. And I remember her teaching me how to take photos. And you know, you've got this window you all look through, and I'm snapping, and she's saying, Mum, you got to capture the light. And I'm like, I'm capturing. And we both took a picture from a similar perspective, or so I thought, right? But when we looked at those pictures, they were entirely different. She was just looking at me in confusion, like, Mum, why does your picture look so dull and gloomy? And here she had this beautiful and vibrant picture. And she just couldn't quite understand that, why can't adults loosen up? Why can't they have more fun? Why can't they capture the light everywhere they go? And I remember, fast forward, yes, Lachey was absolutely sick of being in school. And she said to me, I'm leaving. And I said, please don't leave. And she said, well, why are we in school for so long? And I said, I don't know. You know, it's kind of what people do. She goes, we go from primary school to secondary school to college, and then to university. And then people are sad and miserable. And all I said to Lachey was, give me some time. Have you ever felt a time in your life where you didn't have the answer and you really needed some time, but you felt like you should have known the answer? Because here's this young lady asking me, thinking I should know what I'm doing, right? And it was at that time I had to surrender. My imperfection was my perfection, but I was willing to learn. So I asked her to give me some time, come up with a plan. And that was really time for me to learn. My God, what else can we do? I've been teaching her to dream and step outside the curve, but she's ready a lot quicker than I thought she would be. So I had to pull up my socks. So Lachey changed my world. She would tell me to be strong, to step up, answer back, stop just taking everything that people put on your table, Mum. So she was refusing to live this life where Mum was a recluse, low self-esteem, lacking in confidence. And she said, you got me here and you sure well going to pick up yourself, Mum, because I want to have a good time. So you better shape up. New shoes, get yourself together. You got to look nice. And for me, that was an awakening. It was that, wow, I thought that I was a mother when I gave birth, but we become another version of mother each and every time our child mirrors back that reflection. Trayshawn walked into my life, and I remember Lachey peering into the Moses basket, or the swinging cot at the time, and she said, I asked for a sister, you gave me a brother, send him back. And he was in the cot like this, holding on to the side, and he was our Bam Bam. We've got 3 Bam Bam boys in our family. And he would run into rooms and bang the door, and he wasn't happy unless the door banged against the wall and came back. And I'm just thinking, what on earth? I had my daughter, I would clean up and walk around the house, and she's still in the same place. If I cleaned up and came back to Trayshawn, I didn't know where he was. And he would find it fun to put controls in the toilet, break things like, Mum, I've broken this. And I'm like, what's going on with this child? Like, what's going on? And his character really just, I was always on edge and jumping. Now, I'm not saying that all boys are like this, but some mothers, if you have sons, when I'm walking down the street, I nod, I smile, and I say, you're doing a good job. Sons have so much energy. Sons push the boundaries. And I remember him just always going for Lachey, and Lachey was just like, my God, like, I want a sister, what's going on? And it wasn't until Trey started to get older, it was very interesting. When Lachey was around 11 and Trayshawn was 7 years old, and she was writing her first book, And I remember him being furious, saying, why on earth is my sister writing a book when I can read and I can write, and I don't think it's fair? So their first ever book they co-authored together was called Kids That Dream Big. It was supposed to be Lachey's book, and Trayshawn was not having none of that. And he started to talk about making money and going out, and we was like, yeah, it's really good, you know, paper round, maybe get a job, you know, helping out, volunteering. He was like, I want to make real money, Mum. And I said, that is real money, son. You exchange. You know, business is about finding a problem, coming up with a solution, and you selling that for a price tag. And he's going, that's not money, that's slavery. I have to do something each time I want to make it. And he said to me, I want to get into property and I want to trade. And there was this silence. Because just like Lachey, he asked me a question I did not have an answer for. I didn't know where to start. And then he asked me another question. And this one made me silent at a very deep level. He said, Mum, I don't know what it means to be a boy. And I certainly don't know what it means to be a man. He said, my stepdad's at home. His body is there, but I don't think he's there emotionally. And I remember it like it was today. We were walking home from school. We were on the opposite side of the road, just about to cross and go into our home. And I was completely in shock at the fact that my son was able to communicate and articulate in such a way. But also he was saying to me, Mum, I need your help. I need to get something done because this is happening quickly. And you're not on the right path right now, in a nice and polite way. And I tell you that to tell you this, that Trayshawn went on to be inspired by Lachey. He applied for some funding to actually set up his first ever workshop. He was funded by Unlimited. He did his workshop at Arsenal Football Club. And it was called I'm That Kid, Bridging the Gap Between Fathers and Sons. There were fathers in the room. His stepdad was in the room. There were boys in the room. Some boys came with their fathers, some boys came with their mums, and some boys came on their own. Trayshawn organised volunteers to come and help. And it is still very emotional today because I saw my son say it wasn't about pointing the finger at his stepfather. He just wanted him to be in the room so they could learn together. And in his desire to learn, to grow and to connect, he was able to move other fathers and their sons and mothers and their sons and young men that didn't have a father. We had a particular young man that stood out for us. He sat at the back and we asked him, why are you at the back? He said, because every time I visit my dad, he told me that I wasn't good enough. And he'd always make me sit in another room or at the back, and I'm just used to it. And the beautiful thing about that is towards the end of the event, he actually went to the front. He actually stood up and spoke. And he was in tears. There was lots of tears. It wasn't just a sit down situation. Trey can tell you a bit more about this as we go on, but they wrote letters to their fathers. So fathers wrote letters to their fathers. The little boys that were present wrote letters to their fathers. The ones that didn't have fathers present wrote letters to their fathers, and they read them out and they shared it. And this is why I'm saying that when a child shows up, they teach, and we're not really doing the teaching. We are just stewards of their souls, and our job is to help them preserve that natural ability for as long as possible in this beautiful life, the beautiful experience we get to call life. My dance with life has been miraculous because of my children. Now, going back to Arsenal, they were playing on Arsenal football pitch. They were doing processes. They were board breaking. And I couldn't help but look at my son, who had come into the world with serious respiratory issues since birth, who had been in and out of hospital, but he never gave up. He was sick. We went to hospital in an ambulance. After moments, they got him back into stability. He was fine. He jumped out, run into the garden. I'm like, you can't go out there. We're in hospital. Please stay in the bed. He's like, no, Mum, no. He is a warrior. He's always been a bam bam. I wasn't so good, and they're going like, Mum, are you okay? I'm like, I'm not okay. This guy's not stopping. So again, I tell you this to tell you that it's not me teaching. It's about creating that environment for them to just breathe. They will reveal to you more than you can possibly understand. Fast forward to Yasmin. I was going through a lot of challenges in my marriage. And I remember crying on the stairs one time. And the dad was just speaking. He's Arabic, and he was speaking in his language. And Yasmin, at 3 years old, she came down. She held my hand. And she said to me, Mummy, if you just pour love into Daddy, one day Daddy will realize that he deserves love. And I'm like, I don't want to love Daddy right now. You know, that's not what I want to hear. Okay. And then I looked at her and I was thinking, oh, you might have a point. Because I was stuck in my anger. I was stuck in my disappointment. I was stuck in my frustration. And she smiled and she was fine. And as she was growing up, she would write these beautiful letters. She calls them angel letters, and she would write them to total strangers. So you will be in a supermarket and you will hear someone go, oh, okay. And I was like, Yasmin, you can't just go up to strangers, right? But according to who? Why can't we do these things? And I remember we were outside Excel. I don't know if you remember, Yasmin. And there was a lady that she gave this love letter to. She burst into tears. Now, if you're a parent on here, I don't know if you said this statement before. What have you done? Like, what have you done? I'm asking Yasmin, what have you done to this woman? Why is she crying? What did you do to her? And the lady said, no. She said, she's just given me a letter. And there was no other explanation other than the message being from God or from an angel. Because there is no way she would know that about me. And that was a moment when I went, what's going on? What did you write? And she goes, they're just angel letters, Mum. They're just messages. And she just walked off. I was like, okay. So she would write about this. And there is one of these letters in her book, actually, The Choice Is Yours book series. And at the back of that, we met a very special lady called Sam Livermore. And she has one of those letters in her living room because she went to a festival. She was writing these love letters. And everyone was kind of blown away around who wrote this, who told you to write this, what's going on, because it was so moving. There were people at the table crying. So she's put it in the book. So yeah, as you can tell, Yasmin is our love bug. Unfortunately, all 5 of them went through bullying in school. They had a very traumatic experience. I've always wanted to homeschool, never really felt like I was ready. I had the time, I had the right things in place. And then Paolo arrived. So we're going back to our bam bam energy, okay? So Paolo comes in, and Paolo was the answer to Trey Sean's prayer. Trey Sean asks for a brother. And I remember his stepfather saying, we're going to get one for you. And I said, don't say that, because obviously you can have a girl, you can have a boy. And I remember being at the hospital giving birth and video calling as you do. And we go, here's your brother. And Trey Sean just says, bring him home, bring him home. For some reason, my boys, they're born as, they're quite an interesting size. I think Paolo was roughly 8 pounds. I think you were roughly the same. The boys are really big. So Trey Sean felt like life was beginning. He has a partner in crime. So you've got my 2 girls and these 2 boys, and it's on. And they're like, yeah, there's 3 boys at home, there's 3 girls at home. And it was on. It was like a team. And I could not sleep. They wouldn't nap for me. Only with my mum they would nap. I was a hot mess. And this is when it started to heighten. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? All these kids, I don't know how to cope. And Dad would say something along the lines of, you're a woman, you're built to do these things, you'll figure it out. So I'd have one breastfeeding, plaiting one here and another one swinging off my back. And I remember my mum saying, she's not a mule. You need to help. Don't lift up your feet as she's cleaning. So there were challenges up and down, but I just want to focus around their characters. So Paolo was an interesting young man. You would say, don't go over there. And he would say, why? What's over there? I was like, we just, like, you don't go there. Or if you go to someone's house, they take you to the living room, you stay there. Kind of, if they want you to go everywhere else, they'll invite you. Why? What's in the house? And he would always be this one running off and breaking the rules. And if you said, don't go there, he would go. So unfortunately, I had to get into this essence of saying the opposite. It was like, oh, it's opposite day, and he found it fun. I was like, go. And when I said go, he doesn't want to go. I'm thinking, gosh, this is how I can control this young man, by telling him opposite. But what's that going to cause? It's going to cause confusion. But it was only my only saving grace, because this young man was only excited when he can break boundaries. So if you know that they've got their little AKA names, so Shay is Shay, aka Shay. Trey Sean is I'm That Kid, but now T7. Yasmin is Lovepreneur. And Paolo is Pint-Sized Adventurer. That's a nice way to put it. Paolo likes to break the rules. Paolo would always find our destination up until this very day. He's just turned 13 last month. And anytime we're going somewhere, he will get us to our destination. Anytime we lose something, he will find it. And it's just insane. It is absolutely insane how deep that connection is. Anything that is lost, we all go to Paolo and he would find it. And we've looked high and low and he goes, found it. And we were like, what's going on? So Paolo said, rules are questionable. Everything is contextual and according to who? And he was the one that taught me about contextual relationships. He would say, Mom, I know that you invite everybody into every aspect of your life, but that's not right. You need to have contextual relationships. And there I am thinking I was going to parent these guys, and I didn't have a clue. So this is jigsaw piece number 4 fitting him. And then Amir sitting next to me here, he is my surprise baby. I didn't know I was expecting. I didn't know he was coming. I didn't find out until it was 3 months in. And when he came, he was about boundaries and rules and telling on everyone. It's like, do you know what's going on upstairs? By the way, you know what you're told to do? They're not doing it, Mum. Go and get them. And it was like, what's wrong with you? Why do you tell everything? And you always did that, right? And it's interesting how their personalities came out. So his AK name is Mr. Intelligent, because he has an intelligent way of addressing things that's put in front of him, and a very interesting perspective. And he comprehends things at such a high level, and he would always use these eloquent words, and everyone that met him would go like, how old is he again? How comes he can do these things? And he was the one that came into this in a very different way, whereby his siblings sort of just eased into the brand. He was like, I'm fed up of just being the little one. So he was on stage in about 3.5, roughly. Maybe about 3, yeah, maybe roughly. I think you were about 3. And I remember we always used to go on stage and introduce ourselves. So the kids would say what they do. I would say what I do. Even Mum and Dad, their dad was there sometimes, and Grandma. And he just kept on saying, my name's Amir, I'm the youngest. And he just looked fed up. I remember him coming to me. Do you remember that? And do you remember what you said to me?
So we were at the bed, we were going home. When he got home, I sat in the sofa and I asked Mum, I think it was like, why don't I have a book?
Yes.
And then that same day, we just started writing the book and the brand.
Yes.
I wanted a brand.
So Amir said, in a very cross stance, and if you've got a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old and they put their arms down beside them, they're really cross, and said, why don't I have a brand? He said, you keep just making me say, hi, my name's Amir, I'm 3 years old. Why do I say that? It's embarrassing. My siblings have a brand and I don't have one. And I was thinking, do you know what a brand is? Do you remember what you answered? What was a brand? Don't remember?
No.
So he said something like, it's the promises that we make and keep. because he realized that there were things that were attached to brands. You were a lot younger, it's many years ago, but all of that really was the birthing of the integrated puzzle pieces into the bigger picture that you see today. We've all had our own ups and downs. All 5 of the kids, unfortunately, have gone through bullying. I mean, really horrific bullying attacks that actually pushed us out of school and into homeschooling. But we can come back to this. I really want to get across so you can actually speak to them individually. They can tell you a little bit of what they would like to share. Thank you for listening. Shay, I wonder if you'd like to go first.
No, it'd be my pleasure. So thank you so much for having us here today. As a family, we're super passionate about inspiring as many people as possible to sort of activate into their consciousness and into their magic and into their intelligence, but also just realizing that we're all humans here on this planet having different experiences, and sometimes by sharing our stories we can really allow someone to have a huge breakthrough in their life. So as Mum shared, I'm the eldest of the Ben Salmi kids, and my journey really began into this world in quite a difficult way. So as Mum had shared, I went through bullying, so I was in quite a space of feeling not good enough, not knowing who to speak to. I lost my confidence, and I was about 8 or 9 at the time. So this would have been 2008, 2009, 2007, maybe even. And bullying and awareness around these things weren't as spoken about as they are today. So I was left to feel as though I wasn't good enough, as though there was something wrong with me. I was being bullied by students and teachers. And teachers obviously in school are meant to make you feel safe, meant to make you feel as though you belong and to pour into you. And if the people that you're meant to look up to and the people that are meant to protect you is acting as though something's wrong with you, you're not going to feel too great about yourself. So I didn't really know who to turn to at the time, unfortunately. But my mum began to see the change in my character. So she initially approached the school to see if some action could be taken, but they were not supportive at all. And she just knew that I couldn't stay in an environment like that because it was absolutely crushing me. So she took me out of school, and during that period, she was getting back into the personal development world. So instead of putting me in childcare, she was taking me to these business and personal development events and conscious thinking type events. And I was there at the back of the room initially. So I'm like 8, 9, I'm there. Everyone's probably like 30 up. I'm just like, why am I with all these old people? And what are they talking about? So initially, I was not having a good time, but I would find that as kids and young people, I'm sure any young people listening to this, we absorb things, whether we like it or not, we absorb it. So I was at the back of these rooms taking in the information, and then at the break times I might hear an adult discussing with another adult one of their issues, and I would think, oh, you could use this technique that we actually got taught earlier and you can solve your problem this way. So I realized that I could really learn in these environments. It was allowing me to rebuild my confidence and a sense of who I was. And I also wanted to take what I was learning in these adult environments and convert it and translate it into something that young people and kids could understand. So with very little confidence and just a huge mission and dream, I decided to start empowering other young people. So I wrote my very first book with Trishawn at the age of 11. I went and had to learn how to public speak, which being an introvert and someone that was just regaining their confidence was really difficult. But I feel as though when we realize that our missions and our messages are bigger than ourselves, it becomes a much more selfless experience. You're not worried about, oh, will my hair be okay? Or will everyone think I'm cool? Or will they like me? It becomes a thing of, how can I serve in the best way possible? And typically the best way for us to serve is just through being transparent and real and raw and just allowing the message to pour through you. So I had to learn these things at a very, very young age because I knew that I was here to do something bigger than to just worry about myself. So I began to speak at schools, and there was one pivotal moment that really allowed me to realize that I was on this mission for a reason. And so I'd finished a talk at school. I was very, very scared about the talk, Because I think talking to people that are older than you is still scary, but it's more doable. But then when you have to talk to your peers, that's 10 times more scary. So I spoke at this school. I think the kids were maybe like a year younger than me. And I was really nervous about it, finished the presentation. And at the end, this young girl, I could see her like sort of hovering around for a little while. And then she came up to me and my mum was next to me. And she said, "Thank you so much for sharing today. I was actually considering taking my own life because I didn't know what to do. But hearing that you were able to go through adversities and convert into something positive has given me the will to push on." And that really made it click for me, because in my head, I was just like, yeah, I'm sure I'm doing this for a reason but it completely changes your perspective when it's real and in front of you. So from that moment on, I kept sharing, I kept doing all that I could. And it isn't easy and it's not comfortable, but I think life is so, so precious. And when someone comes up to you and basically says that you've inspired me to keep going, you realize that like your mission journey will never be over. Like you have to keep going. So after all of that, I continued to public speak, and I realized that I had this bubble of creativity inside of me that I also wanted to pour into my work and into my mission. So I eventually began to transition a bit into the media space as well. And that led me to also the cultural connectivity space. And I work with some Korean government organizations to promote cultural connectivity, because we can learn so much more and so much quicker when we learn together, when we share. You might know something from your culture that I'm not familiar with, and vice versa. So I think all throughout my journey, it's just been putting the magnifying glass on the fact that connected, we can do and achieve so much more and be so much more. So that's how I got to where I am today. And I just love, love, love connecting with people, sharing stories. I feel those stories hold so, so much information. But if I could leave everyone here with something today, it's to be unapologetically yourself. I think sometimes in life, at work, we have to have our work voice, and at home, we have to be this certain thing. And with our friends, we have to be something else. But I think it's actually about surrendering and just being you. Whatever you is, that's the best possible version that could show up. So just be comfortable in who you are, ground yourself in who you are, and share, because you never know who you could positively impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nashe. This is amazing. I'm listening to you and I'm like, thank you for you and all that you've done, your courage. Thanks to your mama for getting you out of school when you both saw that nobody would help you there, not the teachers, not the direction, as it happens in so many schools, unfortunately. And what you did is extraordinary. I hope your book is translated in French too, and other languages. I don't know if it is yet, but I hope it's translated and you can come speak in French too. And we need you here too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We can look into that, because our books are pretty easy to translate. But yes, the message transcends language. So it'd be an honor to share it all over the world. Thank you so much.
I'll translate you if you come to France. Who would like to go next?
I can go next.
Okay, Trisha.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having us all here today. My name is Trey Sean. I'm 17. As you've heard about all of us, we're public speakers. We all have our own publishing houses. I'm also a trader as well. But pretty much when it came to getting started, I had little to no confidence. Like I got started around the age of 7 years old, was going through a host of things, and going to these personal development events really did push me outside of my comfort zone. Like for those of you who haven't been to a personal development, like any personal development events, I would highly recommend it, as it helps you to grow. But it wasn't it was definitely way beyond my comfort zone. And going there, people telling me, oh, like you should go and do this, and mum trying to also push me to help grow my confidence, it was something I found incredibly scary. Like most of the time I tried to sit at the back, I tried to sit in like spots where people couldn't exactly be like, oh, like, yeah, you, like, do you want to come up and share something or anything like that? And over a couple of years, I was able to build up my confidence through reading a number of books, through attending events, through the help of family members, such as my mum and grandma, as well as obviously my siblings as well. But literally, as mum says, it really does take a village to raise a child. You need to have all these support systems in place so then the child feels as though they have someone to go to, whether it's something small they want to talk about or something that's really life-threatening, really. As throughout lockdown, we've seen a number of dreadful things happen where kids unfortunately have gone and taken their own lives. And it really does show how much kids have to go through, because we were talking a while back with a friend about things like bullying and cyberbullying, and how back in the day, like there was, yes, there was bullying, but after you left school, that was the end of it. Whereas now, like kids literally just everyone more or less has a phone in their pocket. So wherever you go, you're taking all of that with you, and I feel like there's no break from it. So I think that's something that is just so important, just to have someone to talk to. And especially sorry, and especially like being like into finance, it's something that we do not take into consideration, really. Like many people who go into finance, one of the things that they always make sure you remember is forget about your emotions. Like when you, especially when you go into trading, like it does make sense, but they also need to make it clear that yes, you need to forget about your emotions when it comes to trading, but make sure you're still emotionally available in all other areas of your life, as it can have severe health implications. But yeah, so here are one of the books I've published recently called It Starts With You, which has a number of things and a number of, I'd like to say short snippets, or just some inspiring posts that I've made and things like that, to act as a little booster just to brighten up your mood for the day, really. But going through life and learning all these things and so much more to come, I'd say that I'd say probably like my top three takeaways would, one, just always know that you'll never know it all. Like going into trading, I think the first 6 months I had an amazing streak, and I was thinking, wow, like I know it all. Like I've made it, I'm gonna be fine. And before I know it, I've had a losing streak. And I was like, okay. Like, yeah, people have told me that, yeah, there's going to be times where things aren't going to go your way, but I wasn't expecting it to be this bad. So I just really recommend that you stay open to learning, that you're always reading, like alongside school, in fact. As people think like, oh, like I'm going to school and that's more than enough, but it's about those super curricular activities that are really going to take you from where you are today to where you desire to be in the next 5-10 years, or maybe even in the next week. It's literally just about doing those things so you're able to set yourself up for success. And then the second sort of like key that I'd like to share is the importance of having coaches and mentors. Many people think that just because you're a coach, you're a mentor, you're a public speaker, that you don't have, like, you know it all. Once again, linking back to the first point. But like myself and my entire family, we have several coaches, we have several mentors. Like when I got started in trading, I didn't think, okay, like I can just get started. I learned for 2.5 years. Long school. It was a lengthy process. And a lot of the time I was thinking, oh, surely I can just get started now. Like, surely I know enough. Surely. And this was 6 months in, a year in. It got to 2 years and I was like, oh, come on. Like, it's been 2 years. Surely I know enough now. But even then, like, even now, I understand that I don't know it all. I'm still watching videos. I'm still reaching out to mentors. I'm still trying to see how I can further my knowledge. So it's about getting mentors who have gone on that journey, who have gone on that path, so they're able to get you to your goals in a fraction of the time. And then third, and most of all, it's about understanding that either you run the day or the day runs you. It's about making sure you are productive. I'm currently taking A levels at Harrow, and A levels it's difficult. Like regardless of whether you're taking subjects you enjoy or not, it is difficult for a reason. It's going to help you to grow. It's going to help you to further your knowledge, and being productive is a difference that it's the difference that makes a difference. If you're able to manage your time wisely, if you're able to plan your day, I'm not saying that you have to be doing everything every 5 minutes, because let's face it, if like you're functioning like that, eventually it's going to get to the point where you reach burnout. It's about making sure you're able to allocate small increments of time throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your month, so you're able to reach those targets. Just to allow you to make the most use of your time whilst being able to have that balance in life. As like on top of A levels, I'm still able to go to the park. I'm still able to do trade. I'm still able to meet up with friends and discuss various different things and come up with 101 project ideas. But as long as you're able to find a balance that works for you, you're able to sort of take out some of the stress in life, because it can be quite frustrating feeling like there's an endless loop of you that's just getting up, eating, going to work and sleeping, and feeling as though you're wasting your life away. So it's about finding something finding that purpose, something that really ignites you from within, so you're able to go around life every day with purpose. I'm not saying you have to go out every day and think, okay, like I want to make £1 million or something like that. It can be the smallest things of, I want to put a smile on 10 people's faces today. I want to read a book by the end of the week. Little things like that are able to really just help you to grow at exponential rates. Like mums always encourage us to read from a young age. And I did read, but then there were some books I was like, I might put this aside for a little while. I might take a bit longer to read this book here and there, because like I'm just gonna be so honest. Like some of these books, I was like, I'm not too sure if I'm too interested in them. And they were like, mum just always like, oh, read. It's very important. There's so many things in books. And as I've gotten older, I've definitely gotten more into reading, as there's so much information that you can find in these books. It can be anything. Like some of them have, like the titles can be beyond bizarre, but the knowledge contained within them are phenomenal. They are able to, one, transform your mindset, but also allow you to think from a number of different perspectives. Like for instance, there's been a number of finance books that I've read recently, and I was talking to a couple of friends about them just the other day actually. And one friend, she asked me, like, surely you'd get bored of reading all these finance books. Like, surely it's gotten to the point now where it feels like every book is repeating itself. But you need to understand that every book is written, it's like no book is written from each of these books are written by a different person. So they each have their different perspective. They each have their own different life learnings, because everyone's been able to, yes, like everyone might be, I don't know, like all these books may be written by investment bankers, but the route that people have gone down to become an investment banker can be very, very different and unique. So it's about understanding that by getting to the same destination, there are 101 different routes. And in those routes, there are these life lessons. There are a number of things that people have learned from going on these journeys that they can then share with you through this book. But yeah, that's all that I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cheshon. That was really wonderful. I have a question for you. When you speak of personal development, which you started so young, may I ask if you can tell us some of the places you have been to do this?
Absolutely. A number of them in the UK, at the Excel. There were some up north, but mainly in the UK. There was one that was really amazing that myself, my older sister Lachey spoke before me and my mum. We got to go out to Bali in 2017, I believe, for a week retreat. And that I'd say that was the one which allowed us to sort of like amalgamate everything that we've learned over those years. But yeah, I'd just say it's absolutely amazing getting to go to these events. For example, there was an event, the one in Bali, it was by a lady called Regan Hillier. There was Andy Harrington, there was Sammy Blundell, but all of these events were able, like they were on different things really. Some on marketing, some on public speaking, some on business.
That's
But I'd
fantastic.
say just to go to a number of different things until you find what works for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can write some of them in the chat, that would be great. I think it may interest people.
Absolutely.
I was wondering also if you heard of landmark education and if that was one of the work that you've done as a family as well.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Landmark education. It's something I discovered and studied in America. I thought fantastic, and they did it for children 8 to 12 years old and for teens and for adults. So it's an education that's personal development. And so I thought maybe that was one of the things you've done, but it isn't.
Mom said that we've attended the intro day at Landmark Education.
Mom has. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us here, first of all. So hi, everybody. I'm Yasmin. I'm 14. I'm the middle child, and I'm super excited to be here. So my journey kind of started back when I was in school. So something that we all have in common, which Mum already mentioned, is that we all went through a very horrid bullying experience, and we all transitioned, or I like to say we all learned from that experience, because we like to turn our adversities into empowerment. So after going through bullying and realizing that, you know, some people may not like the way you are, or some people may not like how unique you are and what you have to bring to the world. So it's time to, you know, change and to love yourself even more for who you are and how unique you are. So when Mum started taking us to personal development events, it really started to not only boost our confidence, but also find out who we really were and what we have to bring to the world. So not only did we find out those amazing stuff, but we also found out how much people and how much kids and how much parents and, you know, people around the world that we can truly inspire by being ourselves. So through that journey, I came to know what my purpose was. And my purpose is to eradicate low self-esteem by increasing and improving self-love within all people from all walks of life. And that purpose really tied into me because I had a lot of low self-esteem and I had literally no confidence at all due to the fact that I got bullied in school. So I wanted to, you know, learn from the experiences that I had in life and to change and to teach other kids or maybe even adults how they can turn their adversities into empowerment, and that, you know, bad times were there to teach us that, you know, there are good times ahead. And, you know, something that I really love to tell people is that if we didn't have challenges in life, we'd never learn the true beauty of life. Because without challenges, we never learn to overcome things and we never learn to evolve and to change. So on that journey, I have decided to, you know, empower people through being myself, being unique, and by helping people to find how unique they are and, you know, what aspects or things that they have to come and teach the world. So doing that, I have been able to speak at multiple events such as the Pursuit event, which had over 15,000 attendees. And I got the chance to speak to absolutely amazing people and finding out who they were, what they had to bring to the world and what they want to change in the world and what they'd like more people to realize in the world. Because we have many unique and special people in the world, but when we have people that tell, you know, people that they're not good enough, we try to hide all of our things away, or we try to hide all of our uniqueness away. So in that event, I really learned to, you know, help people to express and to show more who they are, because in life, it's about learning to meet different people And if we didn't meet different people, we'd never really understand what life truly is without meeting, people from different countries, people who come from different cultures. And that's what I love about what Lachey's doing as well, cultural diversity. So that is a huge thing. So on my journey, I have written over 8 books ranging from self-love, self-care, and medicine. So I've got actually a couple of them here with me today, but here are the newest books that I've been publishing. So this book is called The Choices, Can I Ask You a Question, Doctor? And this is my neurology edition. Because of my dream to become a doctor when I grow up, I decided to write a series called Can I Ask You a Question, Doctor? With doctors or students in training. So this book was mainly aimed around teaching people about medical areas that we don't usually hear about in the world today. So, when we think of like doctors, we think of plastic surgeons or people getting Botox or, lip fillers or, the mainstream stuff for beauty standards, as they like to say in the social world that we live in today. So I wanted to create a book series where I was to teach young people and people around the world, different aspects around medicine. And it's not only about, the beauty aspect, but also, we can have people who do healing who are classified as doctors, helping to heal people. You can be classified as a spiritual healing doctor. So I wanted to teach people and explore around the different aspects of the medical industry. So that was the first book that I wrote with an amazing person called Tidibere Ibe. He was featured on Forbes and CNN. So that was amazing to not only know more about the medical field of neurology, but also learn more about who he is and why he decided to become a doctor. So in the book, he mentioned that his mother died of ovarian cancer. So he thought that, when he was younger, he wasn't a doctor. So he wanted to become a doctor so that he'd be able to save more people. So that was interesting. And then the new book that I've written, which is a new addition to the series, which is called Can I Ask You a Question, Neurology Edition, but with another doctor called Uma Utribe. So please look out for more books such as Holistic Dentistry and Professor of Surgery. So around all of those books that I've written, it really prompted me to inspire more people. So on my journey, I've not only spoken at events such as the Best UN family events and even events like this, but I've also spoken at an event, at a technical company called Equinix. And on that day, it was the Global Happiness Day. So I had to speak to all of their employees on how they can explore happiness and initially how they can implement it into their lives. So being on a call with, like a bunch of adults, sometimes you get criticized or, told that you're a young person. How would you know what it's like to be my age and how to, conquer happiness or how to, be in a state of happiness every single day and all the time. So I had to learn that, it's not about age because, as they say, age is just a number. It's about learning to tap into different energies. And that's what I really love about being on this call, the positive energy and the positive vibes that is on here today. So thank you so much for doing that. So at the event, I had so many people that shared all of their life experience with happiness. There was a lady that said that she was married to somebody, but her stepkids really didn't like her at all. So she thought that, having to live with people who didn't love her at all or didn't like her, she decided not to be in a place of happiness. And really being able to understand different people's experiences, I then unlocked the power of knowing that, in life, we don't really know what's going on in other people's lives. So the best thing to do is to be kind and to be a happy person. Holding a door out for someone is like you may not know the extent of how it may impact one's life. Or even, saying like you like someone's outfit or you like their hair. It's like one thing that catches them off guard, but something that can impact someone for a long time. So on that event, I created a PowerPoint, and that PowerPoint was on exploring happiness. And I created 3 pillars, and the pillars evolve around having something to do. Since us humans, we need to be occupied all the time because, being in a world that's forever evolving, we obviously need something to do. So the next pillar is someone to love. So that pillar really came to me because when I went through that bullying experience, I had to learn to love myself again. And whether that can be yourself, self-love, or being of service and loving other people. So I had my family to love, I had myself to love, and I also had the world to love as well. So at times when I feel, discouraged or, nervous to speak on calls, I always thought to myself, feel as though you're speaking to another little girl or another young person that really needs the advice to carry on and to push forward. Because as Deshay said, when she was talking at an event and one girl said that you actually saved me from taking my own life, I then decided that, I wasn't going to be that selfish person to, keep all my uniqueness and, passion and power to share just with myself. I had to learn to share it with other people so that not only could other people know about what they can change in the world, but also who they can be and who they can then inspire. So every time I'm nervous, I'm not nervous right now, so that's a bit good. So I've evolved. Changing, evolving is the best thing that one can do. So when I learned through that, I then learned that, even times where I may stutter, I have to understand that I can always impact other people. I can always change another person's life. So when I had to learn to love someone, that was when that pillar came along. So the last pillar is something to hope for. So after we've got something to do, keeping ourselves occupied, after we've got someone to love, whether it's ourselves, our family, friends, the world, we also need something that we can strive for. Because, having hope, it makes us more determined and more, going forward in life. It makes us more able to evolve and adapt and to, learn to overcome challenges. So when we learn to hope for the better, it really makes our life much easier than, we'd think it to be. Because, in life, it's much more harder than people tell you it to be. But if you have the hope to keep on, pushing forward and the determination to go forward in life, that's really the best thing. So when I created all of those 3 pillars, I learned that that was really the key to life, learning to be happy, learning to be in a state of love, and also learning to be in a state of kindness as well, which you can then reciprocate onto other people. So onto that, I've spoken at various other events, but really learning to, be myself. And, when you're a child or, a kid in this phase of life where, everybody wants to copy the trends, everybody wants to be like everybody else, you then start to, think to yourself, well, what am I really doing in the world? There's so many other kids that can do what I'm doing, but what is it that I really have to offer? So that was a stage where I started comparing myself to other people and, started to think to myself, what do I really have to offer? I'm just like another random teenager that, talks about love and, happiness. And then all the other kids at school was like, why would you do that? Why do you write a book? I thought only writing books was for adults. So then when I started to not only feel a comparison of comparing myself to other people, I also had other kids telling me that. So then I had to stop that stage, and it took a long time, but eventually it happened. But also learning through that, I came across a quote and it said, stop comparing yourself to others because there's no comparison between the sun and the moon. They both shine when it's their time. So I had to learn that, even though there may be other teenagers around me doing the same thing, we shine equally when it's our time. So for young people on here who are comparing themselves to other people or feeling discouraged at a moment, learn that, maybe it's their time to shine, and maybe your time to shine will be, when it needs to be. And, overthinking comes and, people, you have all these thoughts in your head of thinking, the same thing of comparing yourself to other people. But you have to learn that, in life, when you overthink, it clogs your brain a lot and it destroys your happiness. And then I came across another quote. I guess a lot of people who are on this call already know me. I love to, quote things or have a lot of quotes to hand. So when I talk about an experience, I'd have a quote because that's what I had to learn. So overthinking, this is a quote, overthinking will destroy your happiness and your mood. It will also make everything worse than it actually is. Instead, take a deep breath, exhale, and have faith. What's meant to be will be. So if it's not meant to be, it won't happen. If it's supposed to be, it will. So, everything isn't supposed to be, rapid. And, living in a time like today, like TikTok, everything's shorter. Everybody's attention span is getting shorter. I think to myself, like, although that may be good for different people who learn different in different ways, learning to overthinking and having things shorter isn't really the best decision, because we need to actually comprehend and to think of what's actually going into our minds. And that's another thing that I had to learn. So I also learned about emotional intelligence, learning to read different people's emotions. So if another person looks unhappy, instead of going on to and saying something else that may trigger them to be in that same state, you really understand that I see this person's emotions and I'm not going to tap into that. So learning that, and also learning to read the weather in the room, which I was taught. And it was kind of weird, because sometimes when we'd be at events and, if it wouldn't be going too well, this is a stormy environment. And then people would look at you and it's sunny outside. And then you get all these looks. So, sometimes when you have to read the weather, it sometimes has to be in your head. So when I had to learn through all those things, whether it's emotional intelligence or reading the weather, it's really key life skills that every young person needs to be taught, whether, it's from my age, being a teenager, or even from being a baby. And, from ages from 0 to 7, kids are like sponges. So, and you have parents that say, well, they wouldn't really understand this, or, they're too young for this. They actually will. And even if you think that they won't understand at that age, when they grow up and they're taught that same thing, they'll think, oh, I learned this when I was younger. And it will trigger another, neuro stem in their body to actually realize that, oh, I learned this like ages ago. And then they can piece together the pieces of the puzzle and create a whole new world. And then that's how we have genius kids in this world. Teach them from young, invest your time and energy and your love into them, because you don't know what the future would hold. So I hope you guys enjoyed my speech. And yeah, it's amazing being on this call. Thank you.
Beautiful, Yasmin. Wow, so impressive what you've done, what you're doing, so many books, the ideas you have, the heart, the consciousness that you have. I'm really touched and inspired by you, and grateful that you are spreading your light in the world as you are.
Thank you.
Paolo?
Hello, is it Satyana? I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Tatiana, yes.
Okay,
welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. So my name is Paolo Ben Salmi. I'm the second youngest. May beat me to the last. And I'm 13 years old. I just turned 13. I'm an author of 8 books so far. Sorry, can you hear me with the headphones on? Okay.
Sorry. Can you hear me better now? Okay, awesome. So I've written 8 books, nine. Sorry, I'm having an unconscious debate on how many books I've written so far. It's around 8 or 9, but they all range from different topics. From going on adventures, like Mum said before, because my nickname is the Pint-Sized Adventurer. Not so pint-sized anymore, so the name has to go. But to my other book series called the Tree Roots book series, which is about a forest that I planted in Tanzania. And then I kind of had this story where trees had come to life and started moving like humans. It sounds a bit weird at first, but if you actually read the book, it would make much more sense. But I absolutely love trees, and it's always been a big passion of mine to give back to nature. So these are some of my books. A credit to my big sister Lachey for drawing my Tree Troops character. It's absolutely awesome. So thank you so much, Shay. I guess other than book writing and the other things that I do, what I'm really about is mindset. And then I wrote a book about it as well. So what I mean by like I'm really into mindset is...
Wait. Show us your book. You just showed it really fast and put it away.
My bad.
Yeah, thank you.
Mindset is key. And then, sorry, just before I explain like a bit more about mindset, just wanted to share my purpose quickly, because I believe that whenever I start presentation and talk and stating my purpose, I believe it defines who I am and my message and my purpose that I want to convey over to you. So I believe that my purpose is to inspire over 1 million kids. The reason why I say over, because I don't want to be limited to the 1 million kids. I want to be able to expand that. So I want to be able to inspire 1 million kids to go on adventures both internally and externally, learning more about themselves and then our beautiful world. Now, talking a bit about mindset, some of the things that I gained over the years, I'm sounding a bit old now, but I'm only 13, but some of the things that I've gained over the years of some of the things that mum has taught me in the events that I've gone to, and also some self-intuition, is that my mindset, like having a good, fertile mindset, it's not something you say, but it's a state of being. It's like, it's, I don't know why I'm using this example, but it's like being a footballer, going onto a pitch, saying you're this professional footballer, but when it actually comes down to being on the pitch, you don't know how to perform because it's just a lot of talk, but it's not a lot of being. So mindset is not about what's on the outside, it's more about what's on the inside. I wrote an article about this briefly on Arabian business, and I believe that whenever we have a certain thought, a certain feeling, a certain emotion that is conveyed to whoever you want to show that you're sad or not feeling good, or to show that you're happy and you're very vibrant and happy and you're alive, is that it starts with a thought. The thought of being alone, the thought of being unwanted, or on the brighter side, the thought of being wanted, the thought of being loved, the thought of just going on a roller coaster ride and all you can feel is air blowing through your mouth and no one can hear what you're saying. And as your hair's blowing into the face of the person behind you, you're in that happy state, and that's because it comes from a thought, from that state of being, from that mindset, and I believe that when I talk about mindset, it relates and it's very similar to a farmer planting on a farm. So if you believe that every thought that you're thinking, every thought that you believe, every belief that has ever entered into your mind is a seed, then you're going to start to think more differently. If you think that there's weeds growing in your garden, the first thing you're going to do is, get your tools and equipment to go and remove that weed from the garden. So the first moment, the first instant, the first second, if you will, that you start believing this negative thought, you got to go get your equipment and take it out of the garden, because what you seed in your garden will eventually produce harvest. It's not the weeds that are right in front of you, that are presented to you, that you're worried about. You're worried about the weeds that are going to come after the set of weeds, that are coming after harvestation of these weeds. So whenever you plant a seed, it will produce harvest. And when you want to produce harvest, you've got to feed that seed. And what I call this, the nutritional, the food of the seed, if you will, is UFFTs. It sounds really weird, with a very weird name, but what this basically means is unconscious food for thought. And the reason why I named it that is because every thought and every feeling you're thinking and every emotion that's being expressed has a food, has something that they're craving, has a menu that they're literally looking at and wanting to eat. So whenever you have an emotion, let's say you're happy, that food for that thought would be, good happiness vibrations, good friends around you, a good circle, but also it's also internally feeling good about yourself, looking in the mirror and saying, wow, he's so handsome. And just knowing that whenever you say something good about yourself, you could literally say, I am amazing, and it'll make you feel good. if you just walk around saying, I am amazing, knowing that you smile, and even at the end of the day, your face will start to hurt because you've been smiling so much. And just smile so much, because you know that the thoughts you're thinking and the way you're feeling is producing a good vibration onto other people. And then when we look at negative emotions like being angry, being sad, they're all natural things that happen to us as humans. But imagine if you're happy and you're sad and crying and angry all the time. It's not good for you. We weren't developed as humans to have our faces upside down, because it's unforming our face. We're meant to be smiling, we're meant to be vibrant. So when we have these emotions of being angry or sad, the UFFTs, the unconscious future thought, I'm going to stop using the UFFTs because it's getting weird now, but the unconscious future thought for that type of emotion is, thinking that, we're not good enough, setting these limited expectations of ourselves. Like when I started just before, I said that I wanted to reach and inspire over 1 million kids. Now, if I set the limitation that I'm going to inspire 1 million kids, when it gets to 1 million kids, what's going to happen then? It's going to stop at 1 million kids. I'm going to stop producing harvest. The farmer's just going to go to the farm and pour on all the weeds. And it's like, oh my God, we're going to get good harvest from this. And, it's going to be so good. But the reason why I didn't set that limiting expectation for myself is because I know what I'm capable of. A farmer doesn't plant a seed if he doesn't know that he's going to be able to produce harvest. So all of your thoughts produce harvest. It's just what type of harvest, what type of thought you're producing. The harvest that I'm talking about, when you're having happy thoughts, when you're having happy emotions, being happy, just wanted to convey a smile onto someone's face, wanted to have a smile on your face. The harvest from that thought, from that feeling, is that you're going to impact other people. You're going to impact the people around you. By being happy, you're going to impact so many people. It's not right thinking that you can smile and other friends are going to be sad. It's what's the word? I'm thinking of the word. I'll come back to it, but sorry, it's infectious. Feelings when you are happy, it basically it rumbles someone's spirit. If you're happy next to someone, they're sad, they're just waiting for that smile to come up, and then there it comes, they're smiling. So all types of mindset, your mindset is all around your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, and also how you set your day. And when it comes to negative thoughts are ego, and positive thoughts are universe, light, bright, and expansive. Now, if you just think of positive thoughts as light, bright, and expansive, you're not going to think about the dark, gloomy, and not nice at all. So you just want to be in a state where you're feeling happy, where you're able to move around, where you're able to share an amazing mindset with someone else. So your mindset, as I said before, it's not something that you can just say you are. It's a state of being. It's a state of being. It's somewhere where you have to be at. It's somewhere that you have to be in. It's an environment. When you're happy, you will no longer see the bad things within your life. You'll start looking at your house and you'll start saying, wow, although the paint outside my house doesn't look very nice, the inside of this house has protected me from rain, from storm. Imagine all the other people who don't have a house, a roof over their heads. So being grateful, when you're in a positive state, you'll start realizing the positive things around you. So that's what I wanted to share today. And the quote that I wanted to share just before I leave is that the best way to be is to practice being the best version of you. Like we're taught when we're younger, practice makes perfect. practice also makes improvement. So when you practice being the best version of you, you'll start infecting people around you to start being the best version of themselves. Thank you.
Infecting in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
Wow, I am blown away by your wisdom, all of you. You're just incredible, just sources of wise teaching. So many adults don't even touch on this wisdom. We're very blessed to have each one of you here, and wisdom of the heart, wisdom of the mind. And we still have time for the youngest one to share, so please come.
So thank you very much. My name is Ben Salmi, aka Mr. Intelligent. I've written 5 books on affirmations and 1 book on teaching kids and adults how to play chess. And this is the book about affirmations. And if you guys don't know what an affirmation is, I'll explain it for you. So an affirmation is a kind, positive, and lovely word. So have you ever told a family member that you love them? So if you have, that's an affirmation. So when you're saying an affirmation to yourself, I prefer going in the mirror, because when I say it in the mirror, it reflects back to me. And I'm working on another book, which will be my 7th book. So it's called A Day in the Life of an Affirmer. And I just wanted to share the 3 A's that I created. So it's affirmation, action, and affirm. So that I got inspired to make that, what is it called again? I'm not sure what it's called again, but I got inspired for it from my book that I am writing currently, A Day in the Life of an Affirmer, and that will be published soon. I'm also the youngest ever STEM ambassador for Brunel University, and yeah, so that's, and I'm 8 years old, and I'd just like to share some affirmations with you guys. And when I say the affirmations, please may you guys repeat after me. So I am a masterpiece.
I am a masterpiece.
I am planting a seed for my future.
I am planting a seed for my future.
I am loved and appreciated.
I am loved and appreciated.
I am grateful.
I am grateful.
I love my family.
I love my family.
I love my friends.
I love my friends.
I'm a wonderful masterpiece.
I am a wonderful masterpiece.
I love animals.
I love animals.
I love nature.
I love nature.
I love to keep my home tidy with my family.
I love to keep my home tidy with my family.
I am thankful.
I am thankful.
I am abundant in all areas of my life.
I am abundant in all areas of my life.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I actually do have something else to say. Keep saying your affirmations, and when you learn to do your affirmations, you would also affirm. So when you affirm, that would be a great thing, so to affirm on the right path. So thank you.
Oh, welcome, miss.
How beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Are there images on your book, Amir? The affirmations books? Do you have drawings, pictures? Who does those?
So I actually do have pictures. I get I think it's called non-copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get the non-copyright pictures.
Oh, great! So you go find them yourself on the internet, and then
yes, my mom helped me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
It would be amazing if we could have some time to perhaps answer any questions.
We have 3 minutes.
If there's any questions, or Yasmin, if you would like to read a page from your book, and Paolo.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of questions, but a lot of wow and affirming what you say and how wonderful it is. And
I did see one question pop up. I think Treshawn shared it, and someone had asked something along the lines of how do they help their kids to unlock their gifts? And I would say the best way is to observe your child and see what they enjoy doing without being told to do it. Are they a creator? Do they build things? Do they go off and create things? Do they write by themselves? So just observe them. You can even take them to different experiences and maybe an activity that has to do with writing or being outdoors and see what resonates with them, or even ask. You don't have to figure it all out on yourself by yourself. A lot of the time, kids are ready to share. And then the point earlier about different personal development resources and events that we've been to, there have been so many amazing resources and individuals that have poured into us. But one thing that we've learned on our journey is that kids learn in a slightly different way than the standard way. So for our books and our own courses and events, we've sort of translated what we've learned on our journey to be a way that kids can understand it. So you can just search any of our names online and there are different resources. But yes, we just love being in environments where adults and parents and caregivers are ready and actively trying to pour into their kids. So thank you to everyone here today.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Leshay, so that yeah, people can really go to see what you've done, because you've translated what you've got from the adult world, but you had to learn to process it to really own it yourself, and now you transmit it in an easier way for kids. So that's awesome. Yeah, really precious, really, really precious. You're like mentors for kids, each one of you in your own style and energy. Beautiful.
Tatiana, Sabrina, just to know, do you have some times now, all the family? Can you go on if it's possible, if it's necessary? Because we are waiting for a speaker from Nepal.
Absolutely.
But you know, in Nepal, sometimes there is no electricity, and at this time he's not here, so I'm not sure who will be there. So if he can't come, we have a free time for us.
No, that's fine.
Maybe he will come, maybe, I don't know. For the moment, he's not here. So
okay, that's not a problem.
Okay.
We can fill in. Yasmin, I wonder if you could read a chapter from just a page from your book. Paolo, do the same. And then we can take it from there and just share some of that until the gentleman turns up.
Great idea.
So this is a principle from my book, and it's called Right Place. When I chose to be in the choice, I began to know that I was in the right place and at the right time. Connection. When you choose to know that you're in the right place at the right time, you'll begin to surrender to a deep aspect of connection that will blow your mind. Action. When you choose to know that you are in the right place at the right time, you'll observe yourself taking a line that will lead you to your desired outcome. Presence. When you choose to know that you are in the right place at the right time, you will enjoy being present. Daily affirmation. The movies of my mind are beautiful because I choose to make them so. I'm in the right place and at the right time.
That's beautiful. What does that one mean to you, Yaz? Why did you insert that one into your book? And maybe tell them the title of your book so they know.
So this title of my book is called The Choice Is Yours When I Chose to Be in the Choice. And the my book is endorsed by Marie Diamond from The Secret. So that was amazing. So the reason why I chose to implement this principle was because obviously today we're in the right place and at the right time, being of service to people and, you know, being able to share our uniqueness with the world. So that's why I chose that would be the correct or the appropriate principle to choose.
Beautiful. Thank you. Good
Thank
choice.
you.
Love that. Beautiful. Paolo, do you want to read one page? I think the gentleman's joining. Just do one page from your mindset.
Yes, sir. Okay, so your own mind. When I came to comprehend the fact that it's man's own mind, not his enemy or foe, that lures him to evil ways, this expanded my awareness of my innate power in a deeply profound way. Responsibility. When we choose to comprehend the fact that it is man's own mind, not his enemy or foe, that lures him to evil ways, this will expand your awareness of your innate power in a deeply profound way. It is your responsibility to give yourself permission to reclaim your inner ability, sovereign birthright, and set yourself free now. You can either watch the movie, be in the movie, direct the movie, or you can produce the movie. Management. This new shift in mindset could grant you the opportunity to manage your life in a deeply profound way. Learn to manage your emotions, forgive and let go. In life, you're not defined by the things that happen to you. What matters is